Ready? Howdy, my name is Alicia Brumley, and I'm emphasizing in language arts and social studies for the middle grades.
And my name is Michelle West, and I'm also a senior methods student emphasizing in language arts and social studies for the middle grades. We are both UPMs this semester, and we have been working with MyCompLab, and we're here to talk to you about the benefits of it and how it relates to the W courses.
So for a brief overview of the MyCompLab process, according to the MyCompLab website, MyCompLab is a powerful and flexible online learning solution that facilitates writing instruction while providing personal assessment and practice resources to hone students' skills. Basically, for the whole process that the students will go through, it includes a grammar diagnostic, then an individualized study plan, and a grammar post-test. So what the students will do is complete the grammar diagnostic or pre-test, and they'll be presented, in each question they'll be presented with 4 different grammatical versions of the same sentence. And the students will have to choose the best or most correct grammatical version from those 4 options. And then they'll move on to the next question, and it'll again present them with 4 different grammatical versions of the same sentence. And they'll do this, I think there's 50 questions on the entire test. And after that, they'll move on to an individualized study plan. And the study plan, depending on what the students miss, they will be provided with different activities, exercises, podcasts, videos, and reading information that cover the specific areas they missed, and they'll have to complete that study plan before moving on to the grammar post-test. And some of the information on those exercises is from the Little Brown Handbook, and then after they complete all of that and complete the grammar post-test, they'll be able to look at the improvement they made from the pre-test to the post-test.
Okay, the monitoring process is actually very simple, and even the UPMs might be able to even do this for you. But first, I'm going to log into my personal account and show you from a student's perspective what's expected in MyCompLab. Okay, so this is my account, and on this account I had just taken the pretest, and I missed some questions. So after students take the pretest, they go to Student Study Plan and Assignments and look under their My Study Plan, and all these activities show up. So these are the areas that I need to improve on. It's also the questions that I missed on the pretest. So I can click on the first one, Faulty Comparison, and all of these activities show up. So I have to complete all of these before I can move on to pronouns. The activities with the book beside them is just the online version of the Little Brown Handbook, and I'll click on this one, and so I read about faulty comparison. And after I read that, I go back, and there's a check mark that shows that I completed this activity. So I do all those, I read all these, then there's a podcast, so I can listen to, like if I'm an auditory learner, I can listen to this podcast and understand better how to fix my grammar about faulty comparison. Then there's individual activities, so we'll click on this one, and this one's multiple choice. So I need to finish all of these multiple choice questions. Sometimes they're matching, sometimes they're fill in the blank. There's all different kinds of activities to help you better understand what you did wrong and how to improve it and have correct grammar. So the goal is to complete all these activities, and then by the time you take your post-test, you would have corrected all those errors and make a really good grade on your post-test. Okay, so this is what your grade book would look like. This is from the instructor's perspective. And all the names would be listed in alphabetical order over here. And then there's a column for all the pre-test grades. And you can see, so this is Dr. Weesey's course, and you can see that one of the students did not turn in the pre-test on time, so there's an L there for late. So really, it does the work for you. It shows who didn't complete what, and it has all the grades. And these are the post-test grades. So you can see that this student went from a 76 to almost an 88, and this student went from an 81.6 to a perfect score on their post-test, because those activities really do work and help improve the grammar. You can also set deadlines for either pre-test, post-test, for anything. You can set deadlines for when they need to be turned in by. Also, you can set specific grades. Like if you want your students to have to make at least an 80 on the pre-test before they can do anything else, you can set that as well. Brittany will talk about that more later. But, so it's a really good tool, and it's really it's organized, easy to look at, and even the UPMs can monitor this for you, and really all you would need to do is look at the very end of the semester if you wanted and see who didn't complete everything, or the UPMs can tell you that as well. So it's very easy and efficient. And this is a certificate that each student receives when they complete MyCompLab. So that way they only have to do it once. And so if they go into a different W course and that course is also doing MyCompLab, they can be like, hey, I have my certificate, and they don't have to do it again. So that's just what it looks like.
Okay, so Michelle and I came up with a list of pros and cons, and the first pro is grammar diagnostic and post-test provide realistic grammar examples. So all of the examples in the tests are very realistic sentence options that students could see when they're reading or writing. Students will learn how to fix specific mistakes that they make through the assignments. Students must complete additional helpful learning assignments before moving on to the grammar post-test. And again, these assignments include auditory and visual examples, so they definitely cater to different learning styles of your students. Most students show improvement on the post-test. As Michelle showed you earlier, you saw a lot of grades jump from like 80s to perfect scores or 70s to 90s, so they really do show improvement on the post-test. It saves students money on the Little Brown Handbook, and Brittany will talk to you a little bit more about pricing later. And then the MyCompLab is easy to monitor. Like Michelle showed you, she showed you kind of the process that she went through to monitor it, and this is something that is a possibility that the UPMs can help you with. They can help you monitor the MyCompLab grades and completion assignments. As far as the cons, we both agreed that it was time-consuming for students, especially if they do poorly on the pre-test. The students will have a lot more activities to complete before they can move on to the post-test. But Michelle and I both completed this, the whole MyCompLab process within a couple of days. So if the students are given a couple of months or even the entire semester like we did for Dr. Weesey's class, then they should be able to finish it in a timely manner. And also, one of the cons, it does require extended periods of internet or computer access, but we haven't had an issue with students not being able to get access to a computer or the internet, so this shouldn't be something that we have to worry about. Michelle and I came up with some personal thoughts about the MyCompLab process. We learned more about grammar specifics through MyCompLab than through the grammar module assignment. The MyCompLab assignments were detailed and helpful. Again, earlier you saw a listing of examples of what students needed to do before moving on to the pretest. Michelle and I felt more confident about our grammar knowledge after completing the MyCompLab process, and we learned about grammar rules that we didn't even know existed. So not only was our old knowledge about grammar solidified, but we also learned some new material.
And as far as the grammar module goes right now, it really sets students up to break their Aggie honor code. Students do not take it by themselves. They get into pairs or groups and take it together because some people really need help with their grammar. And this defeats the purpose because they're really not learning anything on their own. Also, the grammar module was very easy for me because during Dr. Weesey's presentation, I took really good notes. So I just took those notes to the grammar module, did it really quick, and learned absolutely nothing about my common grammar mistakes or how to really improve my grammar. So it kind of defeats the purpose. We also believe that MyCompLab supplements the content of the writing-intensive courses because your courses have a lot of papers and writing. Students need to already be working on their grammar, and this MyCompLab can show them ways to fix their grammar before even writing the big papers where they would get counted off for these grammar mistakes that they can notice ahead of time before writing the papers. MyCompLab will provide helpful grammar reviews for students as they develop their papers for W courses. Like I was saying, it just really helps students write their papers in a more college-level manner.
So these are 3 student testimonies that we took from 3 students who did well on the post-test as compared to their pre-test. One of them says, I feel like MyCompLab was a good review on my grammar skills. I am glad I got to do it, but it did take a lot of time, which is fine. This refresher has helped me a lot on my writing for this semester.
I liked MyCompLab as an alternative to what other classes have to do with the grammar book. I thought it was also very helpful as it focused on the specific parts of grammar I struggle with. I got to spend time on the things I needed to work on rather than wasting time doing things to practice rules I already know very well. I'm glad this was offered for our class.
And the third student said, I definitely enjoyed doing MyCompLab. Even though some of the exercises were tedious and repetitive, I found room to improve in areas that I didn't even know I was having trouble with. The exercises are simple, but they definitely do their job. I have found myself much more aware of my grammar errors, and I know how to go about fixing them. Overall, I really enjoyed MyCompLab and benefited greatly. So thank you so much for listening, and we hope that you consider using MyCompLab in your W courses. We think it's a great tool to help your students work on their grammar and their writing in general.
Thank you.